Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. This one, as you can see, comes at kind of an unusual time for me. Definitely had some thoughts about different topics going on in the sports world, and like I told you before, I try to do shows at just kind of different times to see what type of engagement I get and see who comes around to check it out and maybe expand the viewer and listener base. So definitely wanted to do that and give it a shot. But I'm going to wait a few minutes, see if we get anybody else in here. And yeah, I definitely have some topics that I think will be pretty interesting today. As you can see from the thumbnail, going to talk some Isaiah Thomas. Man, we'll get to it. Of course, going to talk some LeBron, right? He's always going to give us content. Going to talk some NFL, back to that. Dallas Cowboys and Trevor Lawrence. So yeah, definitely got some good stuff to talk about, and want to make sure I get into that. And again, wanted to just try a different time of day and see how that goes. But let's go ahead. Looks like there's some people trickling in, so let's go ahead and man, let's do it. But before we get to that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't. Okay, so LeBron James, man, this might be a fun one. Let's see. Dame Dollar. Nah. Chris, what's good, man? Yes, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And if you haven't already, man, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube. Appreciate you. All right. So, LeBron James, I tell you, this guy, he's truly a genius in terms of keeping himself constantly in the sports media, right? Because the NBA hasn't really started yet. All the focus is on college football and the NFL. And so he manages to always keep himself in the sports media news cycle. Now, this time, it wasn't specifically him coming out and saying something, although it wouldn't surprise me at all if he had some involvement in that happening. But recently, Austin Reeves was interviewed, and he was kind of asked about something. He was asked about LeBron James and playing one-on-one. It kind of started as discussing one-on-one, and then he got into it. So let's give me 1 second. Sorry, I lost that clip here. I thought I had it ready for you guys. I apologize for that. Give me 1 second. Yeah, give me 1 second. I will grab that clip for you, and then we'll play it and talk about it. But yeah, so I'll tell you what's interesting, right? If you go back and look at Austin Reeves, he had a number of clips from when he was growing up, high school, junior high, and forward, kind of banging on LeBron, right? Which I thought was interesting. But now he's one of LeBron's biggest defenders, which I guess, people can change their opinions over time. And now he knows LeBron personally. He plays with him. He plays on the same team with him. And so I guess he sees LeBron from a different angle. So this is neat. But anyway, Austin Reeves was asked an interesting question, and check out the response. We'll come back and we'll get into discussing it.
Anyone for your life?
I'll play anybody one-on-one. I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna win, but I'll play anybody.
You play Bron one-on-one?
Yeah.
Have you played him one-on-one?
Nah, he don't play one-on-one. He said one-on-one's not real basketball, which I kind of agree with. I'll play Sam Hauser.
Sam Hauser.
NBA champion, by the way. Congrats.
So I thought that was really interesting, right? So, and we'll hear some more comments in a minute. But so the question is, have you played LeBron one-on-one? And he says, LeBron says one-on-one isn't real basketball. So any of us who've ever picked up a basketball, probably before we ever played any organized or 5-on-5, we started out, we playing one-on-one, we playing 33, depending on where you come from, or 21 or Utah, wherever you come from, right? whatever you call it, we all play some version of one-on-one. Why? Because one-on-one, however that works for you, it's a testament to your skill set, both on the offensive and defensive end. It shows what you could do. It shows what's in your quote unquote bag, right? What's in your bag. And it's funny because I've heard LeBron often called the bagless wonder, right? Now, I'm not going to say LeBron has no skills, because there's no way you score 41,000 career points and you have no skills. So that would be absurd, right? But regardless, this is interesting because a while back we heard the stories about how, what's his name? Michael Beasley would kill LeBron one-on-one when they were teammates in Miami and they were in practice. And it even got to the point, Michael Beasley tells a story where he says one day I guess they're playing 5-on-5 or whatever in practice, they're scrimmaging, and he goes and he gets in his stance to go guard LeBron. And LeBron says, LeBron basically told him, Mario Chalmers guarding me today. And so he looks at him, Beasley, and Beasley's not moving. He's like, Mario guarding me today. So I say that to say, I guess he didn't want any part of dealing with Michael Beasley. And why is that? Because we constantly talk about how LeBron's skill set is limited. And we've seen it for 20 years, right? Again, you can't say he doesn't have skill because he has scored a whole lot of buckets. But that said, the way the game is now, the way the game is called, we've never seen a guy consistently put his head down and his shoulder down and attack the lane and attack the rim the way he has. Offensive foul after uncalled offensive foul after uncalled offensive foul for all these years, but he's gotten a lot of points doing it, right? We know that for an all-time leading scorer. We know that not a great mid-range shooter, not a great long-range shooter. And we've seen that the majority of his points, you can go look it up, you don't have to believe me, come from 0 to 3 feet. It just is what it is, right? Sid Bubba says, let's find out. LeBron could be great one-on-one if he chooses. I believe he was taught and he kept that from growing up. No, I don't believe that he could be a great one-on-one. I don't, because if we look at it, there's a lot of things missing when it comes to LeBron and his skill set. He doesn't have great footwork. Despite what people want to believe, he doesn't have a great handle. Look how often he dribbles the ball off his own feet for a guy that's had the ball in his hand all these years. And I'm not just talking about the NBA. We're talking about going all the way back to when he started playing basketball. He's always had the ball in his hands, but he's always dribbling the ball away. Like, it's constant. We look at how off balance he is when he pulls up for his jump shots. There's a lot of things that are really weird about his game that don't match up in terms of when you compare him to the other all-time great scorers, right? A lot of things that just aren't there. But he has spent all this time and all these years in terms of making sure he's healthy, making sure that his body is able to hold up. So there's something to be said for that. But in terms of, like I said, offensive toolkit, it's extremely lacking, right? And that is what it is among the all-time great scorers. He doesn't have Melo's offensive toolkit. He certainly doesn't have Kevin Durant's offensive toolkit. Obviously doesn't have Michael Jordan's. Obviously doesn't have Kobe Bryant's. Like, most of the all-time great scorers have much deeper and better offensive toolkits than LeBron James has. That's not me hating. That's just me having seen basketball all these years, right? And so another interesting comment. See, people know this stuff about LeBron, right? A while back, I guess not too long after the Olympics, Jason Tatum was on Carmelo Anthony's podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. And here were some comments from that. This was interesting as well.
Coach come in and he's just like, you know how to do the football drill, the ring of fire, where they just call out two names and they got to go at it like head to head? Coach comes in, he's just like, JT, Bron, to 10, let's go. You shoot for ball. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Bron ain't playing.
Yeah. Bro, like, yo, fuck out of here.
What?
He's like, rolling my ankle playing against.
It'll be JT, Ant, KD, Book. Stafford jumping there a little bit.
Kawhi play? I think you would.
Kawhi, you know why Kawhi play? Because it's the game would be different. Like, the rules would be different. It'll be 2 dribbles, 1 dribble. Right? So Kawhi is in those situations. And he know what to do in the 1-2 dribble situations. So it'll be a small group of guys. Not everybody.
Who's sitting out?
I just told you.
So look at that. Melo is putting it out there, and LeBron is his boy, right? LeBron is Melo's boy, but he's putting it out there. What everybody knows, skill set is lacking. And notice one of the things he said: one dribble, two dribble, pull up. All the elite scorers have that, right? All the elite scorers have that, whether it's Bird or it's Pistol Pete or excluding big men, of course, because that's different. But even David Robinson had that, and Hakeem Olajuwon had that, and of course Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and well, I guess James Harden doesn't have that. That's weird. He's got to dribble 14, 15 times to be able to get a shot off. But most of the elite all-time scorers, they have that because their fundamentals are so much better and they can do that, right? But again, that's LeBron. He's totally missing so much stuff. And it's really weird to me. So I think now you get into looking at, have we ever noticed that okay, let me back up. When I say LeBron's career is very contrived and manipulated, yes, it's an all-time great career. Yes, he scored a lot of points. He's grabbed a lot of rebounds. He's dished out a ton of assists. But in terms of the positioning of where he should be on the all-time lists, his career is very contrived. And why is that? Because he's been so careful about the marketing piece and how he manipulates that, and how he manipulates the media, and how he manipulates how he is seen by so many. Because think about it, when you just have the GOAT debate, and a lot of people, Transformer included, don't like the GOAT debate anymore, and I understand it. But when you have this debate and you talk to people about it, and people are on LeBron's side, what do you hear? I'm not going to run down their arguments, but when I say that, I say what they do is they echo what they hear in the mainstream media, which is why LeBron and his team, Clutch and so on, they try so valiantly to control everything that comes out of the media in reference to him, because it's all contrived. For instance, LeBron James has never done the dunk contest, and I did a show about that a while back as well. And the reason he's never done the dunk contest, somebody that's in the know told me that he lost the dunk contest in high school and he felt like he got screwed. So he said he was never going to do another one. And Sprite and Nike begged him when he was young to do the dunk contest, and he refused. And I was also told that he was also afraid of losing it publicly, right? Because we know LeBron is a power dunker. He's not an artful dunker. He's not going to be creative enough to come up with all this stuff. So he's afraid of being under the lights, having basically the whole basketball world watching, and he's got to go out there and do these dunks. Why? Because it's a solo event. He's not going to be able to say, I made the right basketball play. He's not going to be able to dish it off to someone else if the moment gets too big for him. That is what LeBron is about, right? So he ducks those type of situations. And so I think it's a very similar thing when you're talking about him and playing one-on-one. Transformer says he isn't a one-on-one type of player. His biggest skill is his driving ability. I agree. OW, I don't know what that is. He's just going to shoot straight up. He developed a better post fade, but still not up to par with other great post guys. Right, absolutely. Nino says, are we getting shooting confused with scoring? No, we're not. But what I'm saying is, and Nino, I know I triggered you because I talked about your boy, but the fact is, what I'm saying is, the ability to play one-on-one, so much of that comes down to having a varied offensive skill set, which LeBron does not have, which is why he's going to say it's not just that he's not going to play one-on-one, but what he has to do is disparage it, right? Because that's the other thing when it comes to LeBron. It's not just about what he will or won't do or what he can or can't do. What he can or can't do has to always get disparaged so as to lift him up. And that's, if you're familiar with this show, you know the one thing I always say is, if LeBron is what he says he is and what Clutch wants us to believe and what so many of his minions and so on and so forth want us to believe, why does his work not stand on its own merit? Why do we have to disparage the quote-unquote opposition to lift him up? And this is the same thing here, right? He can't just say, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to play one-on-one. What he says is one-on-one is not real basketball. And I get it, right? To an extent. Basketball is a 5-on-5 game. And all the great coaches and players, they will tell you that, right? It's a 5-on-5 game, and it's at its best when 5 players are moving in concert to achieve a goal. And I totally understand that. That said, often enough in the game of basketball, when it breaks down, you have to have guys that are able to get you that bucket. And that's when you have to be able to go one-on-one, and having the one-on-one. Oh, otherwise, okay, gotcha, Transformer. That's when you have to have the one-on-one skill set, right? For instance, let's look at a guy who has the elite one-on-one skill set, one of the greatest one-on-one skill sets ever. See that guy right there, number 8? He also wore number 24. So this is just, I just cut this clip from another show that I did, but Kobe could attack the rim, as we know. He could finish at the rim, whether with a dunk or a difficult layup. As we see here, he could finish through contact, which is something LeBron absolutely excels at. So I gotta give him his credit. But what I like is Kobe was dominant in the mid-range. So when people talk about LeBron's efficiency, Kobe was actually a much better mid-range shooter. Kobe, exceptional footwork, way better than LeBron, right? He had much more, again, in his offensive toolkit that he could turn to. So if defenses defended him a certain way, well, he could deal with that, no problem, right? That's why realistically Kobe took a lot of quote unquote bad shots, because he had practiced everything. He had so many moves and so many counters that he could make so many difficult shots, right? And LeBron can't say that. If LeBron can't get his shoulder down and go to the rim, for the most part, he's ineffective. We know that. You can call me a hater. You can say you disagree. All that is great. But the fact is, the numbers prove it in terms of him and where the majority of his points have come from throughout his career. I mean, that just is what I find it so interesting. And Kobe actually talked about that. And I can't remember exactly when it was, but they asked him, if if he could beat LeBron one-on-one. He says, yeah, one-on-one, that's my thing. That's what I do at my core of a player. That's what I am. And again, realistically, we all start when we play basketball at playing one-on-one. Again, whether it's literally me against you, me against Transformer at the park, check up, let's go. Or whether it's, all right, we're going to play 21, or you play 33, depending on where you're from, or you play Utah. I mean, whatever it is, that's a one-on-one game, right? And so that helps to develop your skill set. That helps to develop your handles and you being able to pull out different moves and play against different guys and all that in terms of how people defend you and so on and so forth. And that is why we see that LeBron is going to say something like, oh, one-on-one's not real basketball. Like, that's absurd. Do you think we would hear Michael Jordan say that? Do you? Do you think that, I mean, and the reason I bring up Jordan, obviously, I've said time and time again, there's no comparison between LeBron and Michael James. The GOAT comparison or the GOAT debate is not a debate, in my estimation. But at the end of the day, I only bring up Michael Jordan because that's what invariably ends up happening, right? We get LeBron versus Mike. But the thing is, how can we say, realistically, this is not me hating. I'm really trying to understand. Somebody put it in the chat. How can we say that one-on-one is not real basketball? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Somebody let me know in the chat. How can we say that? And why do you think that LeBron is saying that? I think we know why. Yeah, so I mean, you're watching these guys and it's just absolutely incredible. Now, don't get me wrong, LeBron, incredible career as well. And I'm not trying to say that he has no one-on-one ability, because if we remember when he did, what was it, the 48 special in the playoffs against Detroit, I think in 2007, before going to his first NBA finals, I mean, he went crazy. He got super hot, but he went crazy. And so I get it. But for him to say one-on-one is not real basketball, again, I just think that's him trying to manipulate the situation. He is trying to get someone else in his corner. Because remember, Austin Reeves, after he said, LeBron says one-on-one is not real basketball. And I kind of agree with him. You kind of agree with him, but you just finished talking about how you'll play one-on-one against anybody. So how do you kind of agree with him? Or are you just trying to defend your teammate? Like, if you're just trying to defend your teammate, I get it, but you don't really agree with him. You're just saying that because he's LeBron, right? So, again, man, this whole one-on-one is not real basketball. It's just disturbing to me. It's another situation where he is trying to manipulate how people think. He's trying to explain away his own deficiencies, and it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Nino says you're getting it confused. 1v1 is a whole different meaning now. All right, Nino, tell me how that is. Matter of fact, let's do this. I don't have anything else to say on this topic, so you know what time it is. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the phone number in the chat, 8264 904-219-8264. And it's scrolling on the bottom of your screen. I would love for someone to call in and explain to me why one-on-one supposedly isn't real basketball. And give me your thoughts on this topic and your thoughts on LeBron James regarding this topic. Seriously, Stuart, what's good, man? I think you're new. I haven't seen you before, so appreciate you for stopping in, checking out the show. Make sure you click that like and subscribe. Make sure you click that share button too, man. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Seriously, Stuart says his one-on-one game is very limited. Look how Tony Parker and Jamal Murray, Jason Kidd defended him. Absolutely. So you put him in a situation where he can't put his head down, and he's not necessarily going to do that with a smaller guy, right? Why? Because if he does that with a smaller guy, he's going to knock that guy over, and the offensive foul that he normally gets away with a defender of his size, it's going to be too obvious for the referee not to call it. Look how Tony Parker and Jamal Murray, Jason Kidd defended him. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm astounded, and I've said this for years, for a guy who's handled the ball so long in his basketball life, I can't understand why he dribbles the ball off his feet so often. I can't understand why he doesn't have a better handle. That's really weird to me. And so, I guess it is what it is. 904-219-8264. No calls on this one? Okay. Really expected to hear from you guys on that. I thought I'd have some LeBron defenders in here. Also thought maybe I would have someone just kind of explain this to me. Definitely would want to get your thoughts on that. Okay, got one. Man down Mel, what's good, bro?
What's good, brother? How you doing?
Maintaining. What you got?
Well, I'm going to say this real quick. One-on-one is real basketball, and people just look at it from the offensive end, but it also helps you with your defense. Like defending in space, that's one-on-one, right? So you're not always going to have a help defender. So keeping someone in front of you is one thing that you got to have when you're competing against somebody one-on-one. So that's
True.
number one. Number two is everything about scoring comes down to one-on-one. It don't matter how many plays I run or how many screens I set. At some point, I've got to be able to beat this man that's trying to stop me from getting to the rim or getting to my spot for a 1-2 dribble pull-up or whatever the case may be. I got to be able to shake that person off one-on-one. You can't get a screen for every possession on your offense. Well, LeBron James tries to get a screen.
Yes, he does.
Tries to get a screen for everything. But for the most part, you got to be able to beat a man one-on-one. So one-on-one is basketball, and it's on both ends of the floor. And, anybody that's saying anything different is got some other agenda. So that's all I want to say, man.
Definitely. I appreciate you calling in, brother. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Nino, give me a call back. And let me take this. Format Podcast. Who's this?
This good old Sidney Wayne. What's going on, my guy Bruce?
What's going on, man? Do me a favor, not turn off, but mute your YouTube in the background so you don't echo.
Yes, sir.
All right, who is this? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you were young. Who's this?
Sidney Wayne. It's Sid Bubba.
Oh, what's going on, brother? Okay, got you. What's up, man? What you got?
All right. Well, the comment I made earlier, I think LeBron was taught at an early age to play that type of game, and he always stuck with it. So I don't think that's why I said, growing up in his value system and how he played. So I didn't think he could do one-on-one. Now, could I think he could do it? Yeah. He learned from Hakeem. He learned from Kobe. He's been playing long enough. If he decided to, he could.
No.
And
No.
hold on, wait a minute. Now, one of his teammates, UD, said this about LeBron. LeBron can emulate any move that we do in practice, and he can do it. Ty Lue said LeBron can score whatever he wants to. I think he just choose not to because that's what he grew up doing. I think he's stubborn in his ways and doing it.
Nah. I'm going to tell you why I argue with that. I'm going to let you finish, then I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Okay, no, I'm just saying that's what he believed in. I don't think he did it because one thing about high school, he never ever that was quote unquote the right way. That's what he believed in, and that's what he stuck in. Now, I'm not saying I'm feeling what you're saying, Bruce, but I'm just saying exactly the why he plays the way that he plays. That's the way he was taught. You got to remember, he didn't go to college like Mike. That's where you get all your fundamentals at in college. And he didn't play overseas like Kobe, so I think his background's a little bit different. So that's why the way he plays to me.
Okay. All right, let me push back on you a little bit here, Sid. All right, so here's the deal, right? So, all right, where do I start with this? So first, that nonsense UD says he can emulate any move. So he did go and train with Hakeem, and his post game is still suspect. So no, he came up watching Kobe, right? Can't do anything that Kobe did. So no.
Okay.
Second, you mentioned that he came up being taught a certain way, right? So let's put this to the guy that he is most often compared to for whatever ridiculous reason, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan came up that same way, right? We often hear the what is the thing that only person who can hold Michael Jordan under 20 is who? Dean Smith, right? Am I right?
Right.
Okay, so we know that Michael Jordan played in an extremely constrained system of basketball, both at North Carolina, then when he got into the triangle in Chicago with Phil Jackson, right? So we know he played in two extremely constrained systems, yet that never stopped us from seeing the myriad of offensive tools that he had. So this business of, well, LeBron came up playing in certain ways. Well, so did Michael Jordan, because he played for one of the most system-oriented taskmaster, all-time great head coaches that we've ever seen. Remember the last segment I was talking about Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas played for who? Robert Montgomery Knight, the general, right? And we know the general was like, you're going to run this motion. We're not playing around out here. You're going to run my system. But what? When he got to the NBA, we saw his skill set and his brilliance, come to the surface. We don't see that with LeBron because it's not there. He doesn't have it. And so this, I think it's a perfect argument for him, for people to say, and I'm not trying to get on you, but for people to say, well, this is the way he came up playing and the fundamentals and the right way. But even if you look, his fundamentals are missing. Like I talked about, his footwork is bad. His ball handling is loose for a guy who's been the primary ball handler on all his teams his entire life. I can't figure it out. There's so much missing. Even if you look at his jump shot mechanics, he is making more shots now because 20 years, and he has to, because he can't attack the rim with reckless abandon every play down like he used to when he was younger. But his jump shot mechanics are off. If you look at it, his body is always off balance when he shoots his jump shot. It's just weird. And so I say all that to say, I'm sure, Bruce, you hating on Bron again. Yeah, whatever. Think what you think. No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I guarantee you there's a lot of people who will say that to me. But everything I'm saying is true, right? Now, the biggest thing is he scored 41,000 career points. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you he has no skill. That's a hell of a lot of points to have scored with no skill, right? But that said, it's all about when you compare him to the other all-time great scorers, right? Like we talked about KD, and we talked about Melo, and we talked about Jordan, and we talked about Kobe. Those are, quick four ones I'm mentioning. He can't do any of what those guys could do. He can't. Right. Where is it? Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
All right. But I never compared LeBron really to MJ, Kobe, Carmelo, none of those guys, because he's a unique player. So to me, with his body type, he's kind of like Karl Malone. He's an amalgam of Karl Malone and John Stockton. So Magic was tall, but the Magic had a tight hammer.
That's right.
For 6'9". Right. So LeBron's unique. I think the thing was he's a very unique player, so I don't compare him. Because
that's fair.
Jordan wouldn't be guarding LeBron because, like you said, Jordan don't guard power forwards and centers with LeBron. He can play. He can go 1 through 5 guard. I think.
Can I hold on real quick?
Okay.
We keep pushing that narrative. LeBron can guard 1 through 5. It's a smaller league today, right? These centers are not real centers. These power forwards are not real power forwards. And LeBron is 6'9", 6'10", 260, 270 pounds. And so, yes, he has the physical size to guard those guys. But if he had to guard real ones, could he really do it? I mean, he's not really locking people up, right? So there's this whole he can guard 1 through 5. That's a narrative that gets pushed. Go ahead.
Okay, but no, what I was saying though, he can because of his size. In certain spots, he has to do it. Mm-hmm. So you see him he guarded KG, he guarded TD. He had to guard Tony Parker. He had to guard a small forward. But that's to say he's more of a multiple defender. But getting back to the scoring 101, I think if he really put his mind to it, I really compare him to Karl Malone. That's more of a comparison that I think than Michael enough because of his body and his skill set. I would have. No, he can't. Hey, LeBron's a Hummer truck in the tank. He ain't gonna move like a Ferrari. He ain't gonna move like Mike.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Now, can he score because he's brutish like Shaq? Absolutely.
That's fair.
Shaq had a little skit, yeah. So that's kind of why I'm getting at. Could he play 1-on-1? If he really wanted to, I believe he could.
I can't agree with that, but I hear what you're saying.
Okay, but I'm just saying if he chose to. You said if he chose to, he can't. But I believe he could if he chose to.
All right.
I think, but I believe from this aspect, from a philosophical aspect, that Bron is stuck in his ways. That's probably why he ain't doing 1-on-1. He just never did it. That's why he chooses to do.
I hear what you're saying. That I get it now. Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Right. Yeah, from his background. Yeah.
Well, all right. There we go. Thanks for calling, Sid, man. I appreciate you, brother.
All right. Yeah, we should have my boy Gino on here so we get me and him go at it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Nino, a good dude. Man. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the call.
All right.
All right, Nino, go ahead and call back before we move on to the next topic, man. Sorry I missed you. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. But yeah, that I think that was a fair argument that Sid Bubba had. Do I agree with it completely? No, because like I said, I think it's, you got other guys who played in systems, but you could still see their skill set. Nino, what's good, brother?
My man, Bruce, can you hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Y'all should listen to the last caller. He was schooling y'all on some facts.
Okay.
But what I'm getting at, I think, why every time we go to 101, we bring up a basketball subject, we go to the greats. We go to Carmelo's and the MJs.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's talking about the days because I play, okay, would you call the way James Harden likes to play, is that 1-on-1 basketball?
It is, but I don't think he's a great 1-on-1 player, but it is.
But that's the basketball I think Bron talks about. If you look at how the kids play, the youth play, that's what the basketball they play.
Okay.
You go spread out, and they can't even create. Now, if you got a Bron, a Kobe, a MJ, that makes sense. MJ before the triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can spread it out. Nobody's gonna be able to stay in front of MJ.
Right.
But you guys, if you go to your regular part, this is how players, everybody's playing that way. And you go to high school games, they stopping and shooting three. They want to, they got no ball movement.
Mm-hmm.
They think they in the NBA. So I think that's what he was speaking to. I think he's talking about, because if you look at MJ played 1-on-1, great 1-on-1, yes. But it was in a midst of a system.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't just go out there and go James Harden. Even Magic, you can say he 1-on-1, but he facilitate. He looking. I think that's another. I get on that Nick or the Bron comparison. But I think that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
There's two types of 1-on-1s. It's 1-on-1s where it benefits like Michael Beasley. He probably everybody say he's a great 1-on-1 player, unstoppable.
Yeah.
But it's more to basketball than 1-on-1.
Absolutely.
I think if he could, along with his problems, everybody got their problems, but his problems and his ability to think, like J.R. Smith probably was great 1-on-1. He can't think. He don't think basketball. Like I still don't know. He mad at Bron and everybody else. How you don't know in the NBA Finals what the score is?
Yeah.
I mean,
I get it.
I understand Bron. But I get everybody the point. Bron had a fit over there. You got to still hold it together. But I bet Bron thinking, it's the NBA Finals. This motherfucker don't know the score. Oh, excuse me, bro. But I got mad again. He don't know the scope.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm thinking we talking about 101s. We always go to the greats. Like MJ can't. This why the key is okay. Would you say Magic will have the same problems that Bron will have playing those type of 101? Two dribbles, pull up. That don't mean MJ. Them guys is better than Magic.
Because we don't look
That's what I think.
Because we don't look at Magic as an all-time great scorer. Could he score in certain situations? Yes, but we don't look at him that way. That's why, because we know what Magic's. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
You're gonna appreciate this because I know where you finna go. You're a real basketball. Did Magic not take over scoring in one of them finals?
He did.
When they asked him to. So could he score? Could Magic score?
Yes.
That's my point. It's basketball used to be a game of what you need to do for the team. Magic can score. He just didn't. He had will. I mean, Kareem appreciate him. So that's what I'm thinking. He's talking about playoffs is just want to go out there, spread it out.
As usual, Nino, man, really good call. But the only place I'm going to push back on you asked when it comes to these conversations with LeBron, why do we always jump to the greats? That's where he wants to be. That's where he wants to be. That's where the mainstream sports media puts him. That's where so many fans put him. So you can't compare LeBron to Bruce Hope, right? You can't do that. That's not going to work. You got to compare him to other guys who are Pantheon-level players. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like the comment to, we say 101 basketball, could this player play in this era? And then we'll go say, oh, MJ play in the era. Anybody that don't say MJ can play in the era, need
Man, believe me, there's a lot of people then that need to be tested, bro. Say again?
Well, that was the youth, and they ain't real basketball. How can I put this? You got LeBron haters, you got Kobe haters, MJ haters. Then you got basketball people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about basketball people. You gonna say Elijah One, Shaq couldn't play in the era. They don't remember Shaq. That's because they don't remember Shaq before, and they don't even know how good Shaq could move.
Right.
When he was big.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like Kobe. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. I think we got to start talking about the role players in the era because some of this stuff is crazy. But I don't know. Y'all could be right. I could be right. I just believe he's looking at, because, he be going to the high school games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I be going to the high school games. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of bad 101. I go to NBA games too. And them guys tough 101.
Mm-hmm.
Them high school and some of that college basketball, the spray isolation. Some of them guys don't need no isolation, Bruce. They need to be running. Listen, they need to remember when we was this. Well, you probably had the same rule. I caught the last of it. You wasn't even allowed to shoot threes unless you was just wide open.
right.
You wasn't coming down court shooting no threes.
No, you were not.
So that's what
you come down and get into your offense, and if a three results from that, or absolutely. Nah, I got you, man. It wasn't no just coming over and pulling up like nah.
Right. So that's what I think. I think that's the context of. But my last thing I'm gonna say to the last caller point. I think y'all. I think I see it now. The MJ fans think Bron play like MJ. Like that's the greatness. He play like MJ. We don't say Bron score like. We don't even say Bron score like Kobe because we love Kobe. Bron don't score like Kobe. That's not why we love Bron. Mm-hmm. We love Bron because of everything he do on the court together. Now we ain't going. Even with the last shot, I know you ain't never heard me disagree with. Well, I want MJ or Kobe take the last shot. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I speak for the whole totality of the game. So when they say Bron need a closer, which means somebody that can make that mid-range, that go-to mid-range move, he needs that in his game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's been a disconnected. Maybe it's just been a disconnect this whole time. I look at Bron like a big Magic, a fast Magic. I know what you're gonna say. Now, calm down, bro.
I'm good. I think that I think the last caller, Sid Bubba, he made a good point when he said he's kind of more like a Karl Malone, who's a great passer. I can't go as far as Magic, but I get where you're going with that. I get it.
Yeah,
I'm not mad. I wouldn't mention the two in the same, but I get what you're saying. I do.
Yeah, he can jump like MJ, but he ain't got that. I mean, MJ mid-range killer, man. Kobe mid-range. And the footwork, the technique of come on, man. So we talk, it's different people. So I listen to you and Man Down. It's a difference between a hater and a critique of basketball skills. Y'all are critiquing skills, not the dude on the comment right there. That's what we call hatred. I need him to call it.
No. Transformer showing you love, man. He's showing you love.
No, not Transformer. No, not Transformer.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you meant the comment I just put up. All right.
Well, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Thank you for the call and the support as always, Nino. Appreciate you, man. Stick around. All right. Some good calls there, man. I really appreciate the interaction, guys. Thank you as always. And all right.